Chair recognizes Representative Herrero.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this amendment is an amendment in support of our public schools and our neighborhood schools. And so this amendment will prohibit any funds appropriated to the comptroller from being used for vouchers, education savings accounts, tax scholarships, or any similar scheme. And with that, I move for passage. Oh, actually, there's an amendment to the amendment.
The following amendment to the amendment, the clerk read the amendment.
Amendment by Herrero. Amendment by Van Dever.
Chair recognizes Representative Van Dever.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this amendment to the amendment is very simple. It just tightens it up so that not just funds from TEA, but it addresses all funds for ESAs or tax scholarships. And it also tightens the language that could be interpreted to mean higher education. This just tightens language to primary and secondary education. I move passage.
Mr. Van Dever sends up an amendment acceptable to the author.
Mr. Speaker, I object. I'd like a vote on the amendment.
Mr. Stickland, this is the amendment to the amendment. Members, there will be a record vote on adopting the amendment to the amendment. Vote aye, vote no. The clerk ring the bell. Show Representative Zerwas voting aye. Show Representative Guerin voting aye. Show Representative Darby voting aye. Have all voted. Have all members voted. 104 ayes and 43 nays. Amendment to the amendment is adopted. Chair recognizes Representative Herrero on his amendment as amended.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Villalba, for what purpose?
I raise a point of order for further consideration of this amendment under Rule 8, Section 4.
Bring your point of order down front. The point of order is respectfully overruled. Chair recognizes Representative Herrero.
Mr. Speaker, I move for passage, and I believe it's acceptable to the author.
Herrero sends up an amendment. Anyone wishing to speak on for or against? Not the question occurs on the adoption. We have another amendment. Following amendment to the amendment, the clerk read the amendment.
Amendment by Kane.
Chair recognizes Representative Kane.
Mr. Speaker, members, this amendment seeks to add an exception that unless where the child is a member of a household with a total annual income that is at or below 75% of the income guidelines necessary to qualify for the National Free or Reduced Price Lunch Program, then this amendment saying that it's against vouchers or other school choice programs like grants does not apply. Move passage. Is it acceptable to the offer? May I close?
Chair recognizes Representative Herrero in opposition.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I respectfully move to table, and I ask that we not segregate individuals in any way, shape, or form. So, move to table.
Chair recognizes Representative Kane to close.
You know, a lot of opponents of school choice say that this is only for the rich. Well, what this amendment does, it allows poor families to have a choice to send their children to another school. This amendment does not benefit the rich. In fact, it is just the opposite. Move passage.
Mr. Kane sends up an amendment. Representative Herrero moves to table. Is on the motion to table. Record vote's been requested. Record vote is granted. Clerk, ring the bell. Show Representative Zerwas voting aye. Show Representative Koop voting aye. Show Representative Holland voting aye. Representative Ashby voting aye. Have all voted. Be 117 ayes and 27 nays. The motion to table prevails. Chair recognizes Representative Herrero.
I move for passage. I believe it's acceptable to the author.
Mr. Herrero sends up an amendment. Record vote's been requested. Record vote is granted. Clerk, ring the bell. Show Representative Zerwas voting aye. Representative Gooden voting aye. Have all members voted? Be 103 ayes and 44 nays. The amendment is adopted.